DPNP Edmund Sparho declared the meeting with the Venice Commission a success on the grounds that they agreed with the Democratic Party's stance that the same standards of vetting should apply to all public employees. 88 officers have complained to the Human Resources Department at the State Police regarding irregularities in their examination process, while the police union chief declared the investigations are still ongoing. The State Information Authority has released documents to the public that depict the attitude towards and persecution of Hat Frashërit just days after the repatriation of his remains. Good evening, it's 6 o'clock on Monday the 19th of November 2018. Welcome to the English edition of Aura News. My name is Alexandra and I'm here to bring you the day's top stories from across the country translated into English. A delegation from the Venice Commission has held a meeting with representatives of the political parties. When concluding his speech after the meeting, DPMP Edmund Sparho stated the Venice Commission agreed with the standpoint from the Democratic Party that politicians should not be held to a different set of standards than any other public employee. Meanwhile, Socialist Party MP Ulsi Manya said they welcome the Commission's opinion as a way of further building the platform for democracy. During his statement to the media, Sparho declared, "We submitted our position as the Democratic Party, which is basically that there should be no double standards. The same set of standards which apply to prosecutors or judges should also apply to politicians, especially in reference to links with organised crime. We further argued that no reform in Albania can succeed if political ties with organised crime are not severed." In response to the statements made by the DPMP, Socialist Ulsi Manya had this to say: "From our point of view, the meeting with the delegation was fruitful. It was an informative meeting with questions and clarified answers from both sides. We strongly believe in the authority of the Venice Commission and their opinion on constitutional changes. We will also give you our explanations and thoughts in writing, even though not all the questions submitted to the Commission by the Assembly have been answered. All in all, we welcome the opinion of the Venice Commission on the basis of building a stronger democracy." Moments ago, I saw the statement issued by the Democratic Party in which there was declared the meeting a success that gave results. I do not know who to believe. Do I believe Edmund Sparho and what he said today, or what Lulzim Basha said yesterday while he was in Berat? Because yesterday, Basha said, "I do not know why the Venice Commission comes here when we have not invited them." Yet today, Sparho stated the opposition delegation considered the meeting a success and declares appreciation for the assistance of the Venice Commission. Despite the rhetoric between the two parties, it appears that the meeting is considered a success by both sides. The June 30th determination of the local elections has triggered the Central Election Commission. In the absence of agreement between the majority and the opposition, the plan will be based on the old electoral code. The political crisis has not only affected electoral reform. The Central Election Commission decision has been made with just 5 members after the Democratic Party refused to submit the names for their 2 members which belong there. Socialist Party representative at the Central Election Commission, Eridian Saliani, called on the opposition to fill their vacancies and to prepare for the process. The Central Election Commission decided to approve the plan, which foresees all the acts that the CEC should issue in order to conduct the elections, as well as the deadlines referred to in the provisions of the Electoral Code. The scandal over testing in the state police continues to deepen. The Human Resources Office at the Police Academy has a total of 88 complaints regarding the process of examinations. After investigations initiated by the Department of Internal Affairs and Complaints, as well as by the prosecution, a considerable number of officers who participated in the second round of testing for eligibility as department chiefs have filed complaints. After the complaints were filed, the police union began preparing a lawsuit against the General Director of Police, Ardiveliu, regarding the irregularities found with this process. The chair of the police union, Sadedin Fishta, told Aura News that, on behalf of the police officers who participated in the testing, he would address the court with a request for an investigation and to verify any claims of illegal actions during the procedures, as well as the annulment of any decisions which were made with these as the basis. On November 7th, over 420 officers attended the examinations that determine their eligibility to be promoted as department chiefs. However, just 2 days later, the entire examination process was declared as invalid by the head of state police, Ardiveliu. He then ordered a resit to be held on the 15th of November, which was then postponed indefinitely at the last minute. The concern regarding the testing relates to how the examination is graded. The process provides for a multiple choice section, which is graded by a computer, but only forms 40% of the total mark. The remaining 60% of the grade is determined through the evaluation of responses to written questions, which are assessed by the testing committee, giving rise to the possibility of corrupt practices. The situation is further compounded by the fact that in the original test held on November 7th, only 30 of the 420 candidates passed the exam, despite a total of 130 positions being vacant at this rank within the state police. Another irregularity found relates to the administration of documentation within state police officers, as, according to the regulations, tests and any related documents must only be stored within the police academy. As a result of heavy snowfall in the area, the border crossing of Kapstica into Greece suffered blockages for a period of about 20 hours, though has now been returned to normality. Busloads of passengers became trapped between the entry and exit controls of Albania and Greece, forced to remain circulating between the two border points. Traffic was suspended yesterday afternoon, but many travellers had already arrived at the border control point and, with communication lacking, remained unaware as to the situation they were facing, and as such were forced to spend the night at the border. In an attempt to manage the high influx of arrivals and departures upon returning to operational business, the Albanian side opened 8 passport control counters and the Greek side opened 3. The Albanian Road Authority announced that all national roads in the country are passable without problems, but warned about heavy traffic conditions both in the morning and during the night. In the meantime, the roads that lead to the tourist spots of Dardar and Voskopoja are passable only with snow chains attached, as the thickness of snow in these areas has reached up to 1 metre. At this stage, schools across the country remain open, with lessons being conducted as normal. Improvements in the situation are also being reported in the mountainous areas of the Elbasan district, with no road blockages currently reported. Following the storms, there were electricity problems in some areas, with the distributor, Oshi, stating that they are working to restore supply. Five days after Hat Frashërit's remains were returned to the homeland, the debate in assessing his figure continues. The State Information Authority of the former state security documents published the list of archived documents relating to the persecution of Hat Frashërit. The list of 9 documents dates back to 1945, along with the other 2 files that describe the activities of Hat Frashërit as traitorous and hostile, as well as evidence that he was considered a war criminal. In the materials found referencing the activity of the Balli Kombëtar, which had already been made public by the authority, a list from 1945 of informants serving Yugoslavia before the war and who were also being tracked by Italian authorities is of particular importance. Another key document is also the list of names of Italian personnel stationed in Albania. In these documents, there is also information on the activity of the Balli Kombëtar, a history of the activity of this organisation dating back to 1954, and a document from 1950 reflecting the activities of the Balli Kombëtar in Albania. The publication of these files and documents from the past show Hat Frashërit as the head of the Balli Kombëtar, a group which sparked a national affair. The data published by the authority shows that Hat Frashërit was in constant pursuit of state security for a period of at least 5 years, from 1945 to 1950. The governor of the Bank of Albania, Genç Seko, has warned the Albanian government against providing funds to companies that have benefited from public-private partnership projects. Whilst reporting to the Economics Committee, he requested stricter monitoring, especially for infrastructure investments, where increased invoice values have been noted. He also argues against the opinion that this form of investment does not increase the debt. Once again, I emphasise the need for continuous improvement of the professional capacities of the units that administer the evaluation, contracting and monitoring of these projects, especially as far as the legal and financial sides are concerned. Seko has asked the government to pay more attention to foreign investment, especially as informality remains a consistent problem for our country. When asked by MPs about the possibility of switching the national currency from the lek to the euro, the governor expressed his stark opposition to this idea, warning of significant negative impacts. And that's the news across the country today. Thank you for watching our English edition this evening, and be sure to join us again every Monday to Saturday at 6 p.m. for the latest news from Albania. Once again, on behalf of Aura News, thank you and have a lovely night.